Sister Circle. How y'all doing today? Hope all is well. We thank God for the gift of today. As always, another day. Another day.
Yes.
And I want to quickly check out these tumblers, y'all.
We're going to turn them around. We're going to turn them around.
Hey, sis.
You know, we always saying, hey, sis.
Right.
Hey, sis.
And our logo on the front.
Yes.
I want to give a huge shout out to Jo Marie's Custom Shops for gifting us these amazing, super cute tumblers.
I am dropping the link to shop with her.
Yes.
She is absolutely amazing. She is when I tell you she's a perfectionist, she's going to get it exactly how you like it. I want to also shout out because I want to show you. There's a cushion on the bottom of this. So you get your own little coaster on the bottom of these, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. I need them in kid sizes now.
All sizes.
Everybody about to be walking around with a Hey Sis cup. Yeah. Like, get on it. Let them know that you want a Hey Sis cup.
Hey Sis cup.
Yes.
But reach out to her for all of your custom items. She is, like Tiffany said, absolutely amazing, both on a professional level and a personal level. So hit her up. Hey, Jo Marie.
Hey.
So you presented a life question that was like really thought provoking. And it was what the things that we've done to cover up or to like mask who God created us to be. Mm-hmm. Like the covers on his creation. Mm-hmm. So tell our sister circle a little bit about what that meant to you.
So I keep going back to, right now I'm in the process of healing that childlike version of myself. And I'm finding so much healing in it. This is going to be a Terry one, y'all. I didn't know it was going to be a Terry one, but my sister, shout out to my sister for buying me this bomb mascara. So we're going to test it today. But I didn't realize I was going to cry. I'm not a crier, but we're going to get into why in another one. Yes, but in uncovering that, I remember having nightmares and a lot of it had to do with stuff I watched, and I just stopped watching a lot of
she was making it worse
that I used to love. I was a horror fanatic. I don't watch it no more. Be careful what you put in because you're going to get it back out.
Yeah.
But I remember like holding the covers over my head. And I remember driving, and we call them drive talks with God, because in my car, you know, that's when it's mostly silent. If you turn off the radio and just like give God a moment, he will speak. And it was like pulling down layers. And it was like all right, one sheet and another sheet. And it was like undoing all of my fears that the world had placed on me.
Yeah.
And it was God bringing me back to what he originally created. And he's like
that little girl.
Yes, that raw. He wants that raw version of you. And even though you may be like, I don't want that version. I like the version that I created. But what about what he created?
Yes, that's good.
And that's what made me, it was just like, oh, we got to take the covers off.
Yeah, that's
we
good.
got to take them off.
I don't even know. I didn't even correlate this to that. But did you see the picture that I posted on social media? And it was this little girl, this cute little girl.
No,
we're gonna share that again.
I probably would have cried.
We're gonna share that again on our page for our sister circle to see. But it was this beautiful image of this little girl, and her eyes were so bright, like so radiant, and it just touched something deep in my soul. And I felt like we have to go back and get that little girl that God formed. Like he knew who she was before she was formed in her mother's womb. He knew the plans he had for her before she was formed in her mother's womb. And in looking at her eyes, the radiance in her eyes just like showed like her hopes, her dreams, like her passion. But then life's traumas came and snatched them all away.
Yeah.
And then just like the trauma of it all, the cares of this world, the things that we have to face and deal with, snatched it all away from her. And we have to go back and get her. So that's what this is all about. What we're doing is all about going back and getting that little girl before we start covering everything up that God put in us, and being that version of who God says we are.
Yeah.
So we want to share that. Like, that's something that needs to be shared.
Yeah.
But even getting to that point, I think the pivotal point of getting there is and removing the mask and the covers and all of that is like really understanding who God is and his love for us. That he loves us so much in our natural state that we don't need to do all of those things.
Yeah.
But how do we get there? You know, like that's the question. That's the question. Just peeling back the layers just a little bit at a time and understanding who he said we are in lieu of who society says we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like if we're all a copy and paste of somebody else, then we cover it up. It's just like, okay, I want to be like this person, or I want to copy this personality trait of somebody else. And shout out again, because Michael Todd has been in my business.
Always.
I remember he did a reel, and it wasn't this one, but he was talking about how, darn it, he was talking about like the versions of ourselves, and he was pointing out that God can only work with your version. He can't find you if you're pretending to be something else than he created. And he's like, I can't find you because you look like so-and-so. And I can't find you because you look like this. And I can't do nothing with this because you haven't come back to not only who you are, but who created you. And I was like, okay, you gonna do it again. And I remember he used to always say, he'd be like, I'm in your house today. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm about to lock the door and you're gonna have to get out, bro. Like you got to go. Like I don't want to do this right now. And it's an uncomfortable thing because we strive for comfort. Yeah. So it's just like, oh, now, but you wouldn't make me uncomfortable? You want me to go through a whole season of being uncomfortable? He was like, yeah, everything that you've done, I didn't ask you to do it. So now I'm going to make you undo it. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I would have stayed where I'm at.
I was talking to a friend about that last night. And, we were just talking about, and she's at a point in her life where she feels like, oh, I'm good. I'm comfortable. Like I don't need to do no more. I'm good. But that discussion came up of when you're comfortable, are you really in the will of God? Are you really moving in a way that he wants you to move? Because if you're comfortable, I say no, because he's always going to challenge you to do more and to be better. So
because like if you're comfortable, then your work is done. And as we know, if your work is done, then you're not here. So it's just like, if you're not done, then there's going to be some discomfort because you're not done.
Yeah. And you said something about comparison. I saw something funny about that too. And I don't know if you saw it. It was a while back of this person who, like, God promised them. They were saying, oh, God promised me long life. It was a joke. You promised me long life. You promised me that, like I was going to prosper. I was going to be all of these things. And I got up in the morning and I did my makeup. I put my lashes on, put my wig on, did all that stuff. Went outside in the middle of the street, got hit by a car, died. So I go to heaven and I'm like, Jesus, what's up? You said that I was going to live a long life. And he was like, oh, I didn't even recognize you. So it's so true because that's what we do. We cover up. We cover up with, like I said, the makeup, the hair, the lashes. And don't get me wrong, those things are a beautiful thing, but it's not something it's not something that's necessary, and it should be an option. Like not your automatic go-to. Like some days it's okay to just embrace your natural beauty, which we do. And it took me a long time to get to that point. Like I won't even pretend. Like there was a time when I remember one of my husband's friends telling me many years ago, he's like, dang. He was like, all girls take a day off from doing their hair. Like, I've never seen you a day where your hair ain't done. I haven't seen him in years because if he saw me now, he'd be like, oh, April, finally embracing yourself. But
that's how we were taught.
Yeah, that's how we were raised.
And me too with my kids. If your hair is not done and you look a mess, because you know how Arya is. She's sorry because you go see this when you get older, but mommy loves you. But she will put on stuff that do not match. Coco will tell you, and I'll just be like, she roots for her. I'm like, take it off.
Let her do it.
But I'm like, how many steps? And it goes back to how am I going to be looked at because my child look a mess, and her being a representation of me. But then I got checked because God was just like, look at what you do, and you're supposed to be representing me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna get a behind kicking today. But that's where it comes from. Like just being taught, like, okay, before I leave this house,
everything gotta be matching. Your boots gotta match your shirt, your shoes, your socks, your underwear, stuff that people can't even
because you don't even know if you ever gonna go to the hospital and God forbid your underwear do not match. And it was just like, wait a minute, so I gotta be prepared just in case something happened to me.
But I mean, it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
So anything that is impressed upon you is just something that was learned from generations prior. But that's why we are so deliberate in making changes for your kids, our kids, like the next generation.
My kids are at school now and their socks do not match.
And it's fine. Who cares?
I don't care.
Who cares?
I don't.
Who cares? But like, even with, I remember a time when you were away, the one time that I was able, or thought I was able to keep all 3 kids for a few days. I ain't built for that. Never doing it again. My back was hurting for weeks. But we were going out, and I don't know why I had the bright idea to go out, thinking I could handle it. But your son, he wanted to wear his shirt that he slept in because it was his favorite superhero. Yeah. And he wanted to wear some sneakers that didn't match anything. And your daughter wanted to wear this bow that didn't match anything. But because you weren't around, I'm like, oh, we doing it. We going just like that. And we went out, we had hamburgers, we played games, and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. And we had to get to that point of allowing them that freedom to be expressive, not as long as it doesn't go too far over the line.
Yeah, like, are you trying to wear a red lipstick to school?
No, then that's the problem. Can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
But being okay with just them expressing themselves. But like that brings up the question of, okay, how far is too far? Even in not so much what they're wearing or what they're doing, but like in their behavior, like in them expressing dislike for something. Like, how far is too far? Like, that's a fine line.
I think I'll explain it. Like, okay. I'm a firm believer of, I'll explain it until I know that you got it.
Okay.
But then all explanations is off. Because now I'm holding you accountable for what you know.
It's over.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'll take a little bit of back talk because you don't understand where the boundaries are. But once I draw these boundaries and be like, okay, you're getting real close. There's another way you can say that. And I always give my kids options. Be like, okay, there's another way you can say this. But I understand that you don't know that because you're frustrated.
Right.
My son is a little bit better at doing that. Yeah. Because
he don't want no problem.
Yeah. Because when he gets angry, I remember he throws stuff. And he's 3, but he's already huge. He's born huge. So he throws stuff and like teaching him like, okay, I understand. I mean, ducking, like literally, like, no, he's throwing stuff. He don't do that with his dad, but me,
know better.
Throwing stuff. But I finally got him to a place where it's just like, okay, you need to take a deep breath and then take a moment and tell me what's wrong. Yeah. And I am proud at 3. Yeah. He's able to, if I look at him, he knows, all right, I better start taking a breath because my chances is running out. So he'll take a deep breath. My daughter,
she gonna challenge
deep breaths is not working with her. I just be like, get out of my presence, take a minute, and come back. Yeah. Talk underneath your breath upstairs, and then come back, and then let's talk about what's really the issue here. Yeah. But just getting down to the root of the issue, and I like that's how God is with us. Like, and like, I never understood my relationship or God's relationship with me until I had kids. And it wasn't
that until my love, different kind of love.
And it took me my second child to realize that understanding of, if this doesn't even equate to how you feel about us, then I am overwhelmed with how you feel about me. Because I cannot even touch how you feel.
Like, just the understanding that nothing can separate us from his love. And if we really truly understood that, we wouldn't be so prone to cover up what he's done with other things And on contrary, we would be like more willing to accept his covering because he covers us in all things. You know, he covers us, he protects us, he loves us unconditionally. All of those things that we just can't understand until we really understand his love. So that's a good analogy about being a mother, because that's the closest thing.
Yeah,
it is that will the closest thing to truly understanding his love.
That's the closest I'm ever gonna get to unconditional love.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because it's hard in like other situations to offer that type of love and just grow, like knowing. But like another thing that really sticks out to me for us, and like why we cover up and we don't really show who we are, is comparisons. And we talked about this on the last episode. Go back and watch it, as we always say. Of not last one before, I'm sorry, is social media. And you're comparing yourself to this person and that person. Like they, from the outside looking in, they appear to be like this perfect image of style and grace and all of those things, but they're not necessarily. And you and I were having a conversation about this, where I was talking to you about someone, and I'm like, wow, like I just so admire her style, like who she is. Like she's always so put together. Like how are you always that put together? And you said that sometimes that's a cover up for something that's going on the inside. And that was like a aha moment for me. Like, wow, that's probably true. Yeah. Because I don't know this person well enough to really know who she is and what her struggles are and so forth. But like we use the outward appearance to cover up what's going on the inside.
But like, I don't care what crap is hitting the fan. I'm going to be cute.
Yeah.
Like,
at all costs.
Yes, at all costs. Because, at all costs. Because I don't care if there's $50 left in the account. I'm going to go buy that wig on Amazon, girl. I'm going to go make sure I go buy my press-ons. I'm going to go make sure, like, oh, no, we going to be cute. Yeah. Oh, no, we going to be cute. And everybody that represents me better fall in line. You know how many times I used to do this all the time, and I just stopped doing it. Where you call somebody and then figure out what they're wearing so you can coordinate so that you fall in line. So
that you meet where they are.
So that
meet
you
or
meet
exceed.
Their expectations. And I just stopped doing.
Wow.
This week, I just went out. Yeah, and it was my first time not calling somebody and be like, well, what you wearing? Because I don't want to come underdressed and I don't want to come overdressed. And we got to be the same. And it's like, but why?
Right.
Why do we have to be the same? Yeah. What do you feel like wearing? What do you feel like doing?
Shouldn't matter. Now, for me, I was the opposite. I would never have the courage to call to ask, because then that would signify weakness. And, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to show that. But I would not necessarily wear what I wanted to wear. Like, I would consider where we were going. And
I remember. You call me with the red boots. I'm like, should I wear these red boots? Like, yes, wear the red boots. Yeah.
Like, don't get that dressed up, or maybe get that dressed up. But you inspired me a lot in that way, because I don't care if we're going to Chick-fil-A now, and I wasn't like this before. If I want to put on my heels, my sparkly shirt, my sparkly earrings, I am. Or if we're going to a 5-star restaurant and I want to wear my jeans and sneakers, if it's acceptable, so what? Like, it's how I want to appear that day, or how I want to present myself that day. It shouldn't matter where we're going. It's what I feel in that moment.
And I remember, y'all don't tell nobody I said this.
Everybody know that. But it's okay.
Remember so I used to always, every time I got dressed, if my husband didn't tell me I look nice.
That's a good one.
I would just be like, oh, I guess I didn't look nice. Or I guess you know what? Let me step it up a notch, or let me do something different, or let me do this. But I was at and Coco used to cringe. Because when I say I was at my rawest moment when we met, I was just like, I would take my wig off, y'all. I'm talking about D'Angelo cornrows. He's seen it all in the beginning. Yo. And you will be like, Coco will be like, no, she didn't no, you didn't do that. No, you didn't. You can't do that. But it's like, yeah, I am going to do that, because I seen the vision of, okay, this is the person that I'm going to marry. So I'm going to make sure you see it early, and then you can decide whether what you really want. But I'd rather you see it all and decide from there. But I remember you saying, you was just like, well, so what if he ain't say you look nice that day? And it's a struggle because some days I'm like, I know he gonna say something today. I spent 2 hours beating my face with 3 kids, and I sat up here and I got dressed, I got coordinated, and we match. He gonna say something, and he might not say anything. Yeah. He might not say anything for 2 days, and then text me on the 3rd day and be like, "You look nice," so but I don't walked around for 2 days, tortured because this man ain't say something, and then it's just like, and then the 3rd day, I feel stupid because I'm like. He thought I looked nice, but he didn't have the time to tell me.
He's just busy with life, like, going about his business.
Uncovering. Yeah. Like, I don't always, it's for me. It's for what God created. And it's me being comfortable with what he created and feeling like that's enough.
I've done the same. And I'm sure some of you have done the same too. Like in your personal relationships is if I put something on and I don't get the response that I'm looking for. It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't wear that. Or what would he like? Or, what would he think I should wear? No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. And don't get me wrong. It's never going to be anything disrespectful or anything like that. But it's such a blessing to finally be at the point where I get dressed and look in the mirror and be like,
I don't care. Nobody.
You don't have to tell me nothing. I know I look good today. And having that confidence to know that and think about how long we did not have that. So to God be the glory for the healing that has come to get us to that point of not needing that outside validation and knowing who we are because of who God says we are. And there's another topic that I want us to touch on later that it does correlate to this, and it's grace and God's grace being sufficient for you. And when you look in the mirror, in the lens of that mirror, seeing yourself through God's grace and understanding that I am enough. I'm more than enough. But we coming back to that one because that's a whole
it is.
A whole another discussion.
And then asking, and this is something I never asked myself. I still haven't. When we get off, I'm gonna have to. But how did those layers get piled on in the first place? Because it's like I can account for maybe like 1 or 2 layers where I'm just like, all right, I know how it started, but who put those other layers there? Who did you allow? Because I believe that in anything that we internalize is because we've allowed it. We've allowed it to stay longer. Like, okay, you can't control what other people do to you or what other people say, but you can control how long you keep it.
Yeah, that's
so. True. It's just like, okay, what layers do I not own? Because there's some layers that we put on ourselves, and there's other layers that belong to other people. It's like, okay, what skeletons in these closets is mine, and which ones belong to somebody else that I've been allowed them to put their baggage, their skeletons in my closet. Like, how long and then finding out how long they've been here. Because you think they've been here, like, oh, they only been here a week or 2, and they got a whole apartment in there, and you just like, where did this come from? Yeah,
you start thinking back on it. So, okay, that's a good assignment to do.
Yeah, like, figure out. Get the notepad
and paper,
and figure out. Where did unpack it? Unpack all that luggage and figuring out, okay, where did it come from? And it is daunting. And in this process of healing, and I know it comes across like, oh yeah, hashtag healed, I'm healed. It hurts.
Yeah, it's a journey.
It hurts.
Yeah.
There's gonna be times where you feel like you're making progress and you maybe take 2 steps back just to make 1 step forward. And just starting somewhere. Right. It's like, I don't even know where to start at. Well, start somewhere. Start asking yourself questions. Start figuring out where it is. And
that's a good one. And I can envision what we're going to do. I love my notebook.
Yes, this is the notebook queen. When I tell you.
That's right. She organized, y'all. She organized.
Yes.
But okay, so what my challenge is for you, Sister Circle, is to get your notebook, your piece of paper, start to jot down all of your insecurities. Some of them are going to take you a while to have that aha moment to see where it came from. But as discovery comes, start to write those things down. Then that way your prayers can be deliberate when you go to God to say, these are the areas that I need you to heal me in, like in taking away those insecurities. So that's our challenge for the week. And we'll do an update on that online just to say where we are, what we're doing and so forth. But with that, and like you're talking about like unpacking everything and how painful it is and how hard it is, discouragement comes in because it's like, can I do this? It's just too much. No, I'm just going to shrink back into this comfortable place where I don't have to deal with this and I don't have to go forward. But if we do that, then how do we get to that place of true identity and who God wanted us to be?
For me, I fought harder to do the wrong thing. So how dare I not fight to do the right thing?
Yeah.
I fought harder. Mom, log off. Like, I fought harder to make up a story in order to go out with my friends. I made up story, and even to go with my boyfriend, now husband, to make sure that I made a point to see who I wanted to see. So it was just like, okay, I worked. We worked hard. All right, you know what? Even for stuff like for me, the budgeting. I cannot budget. Husband, log off. Like, I cannot budget. So it's just like, okay, what is it going to take? Going to be able to budget. But it's just like, okay, what is it going to take for me to buy this? What is it going to take for me to do this? All right, I got to work overtime. I got to do this. I got to do this in order to make sure. All right, I got to make this. I got to get this promotion because I want this house. And with this house comes this amount of money. So I'm going to work hard at it. And that's a great accomplishment. But look at the stuff that we work hard for. Yeah. And this is like, okay, but when it comes to healing, when it comes to ourselves and it comes to the better version of us, it's just like we don't see ourselves there, especially in the middle of the journey, because I've got my butt kicked.
Like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah. Because I had this vision of myself. It's like, okay, I have the kids, the house, the family. Like, I'm good. And then I started pulling the covers off, and it's like, oh, I got work to do.
A whole lot of
and you
work.
want to feel like, I wanted to feel like at some point the work is done. Like, I'm done. I checked everything off. I'm good. I can kick my feet up. I don't do nothing else. The house is my house is clean. It's not clean. You still got some cleaning to do. And it's just like, who else is worth doing the work for other than you?
Yeah, like you can't be anything for anybody else if the work isn't done in you. But what you were saying about like thinking everything is done was a moment for me, because when we were talking about this before, it's like you do this work and it's like, I'm healed. Oh, I'm healed. And then this trigger comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm really not healed. And it just got me to the point of understanding that healing is a constant journey. It never ends. Because there's just going to be like, you want continued growth. There's additional layers. There's always going to be something that you're striving for. So it never ends. Yeah. It never ends. And that brings some emotion in me that it's like, wow, because you think you're there. Yeah. You think you're there and you're just not.
But you're a lot closer than you were.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the thing that gives me like, okay, I did something. Because we always want to feel like, all right, well, I don't want to be in the same place. Like, I want to. That's what, in all honesty, started the healing process for me. I had hit, I want to say rock bottom, because I've seen some rock bottoms, but as close to the rock bottom as I was just like, okay, I know what's coming next if I don't get my behind up. Right. And it was just like, you know what was it? What year? I'm like, dang, what year are we in? 2022? I was like, the end of that year, the new year had came in. And when I tell you I was depressed for 3 months, because I was just like, it was just a continual cycle of past years. And it was just like, what am I going to do different? What am I doing now? So now I have to undo everything I've been doing because it no longer serves me. And then that's when God came in with the aha moment, like, oh, now I got you. Yeah, now finally, you understand. Now you listening. Yes. And it was like, literally, as soon as I didn't even say it, I said it in my head. Yeah. He's like, okay, now mic check, I'm on, let's go. Yeah, I'm ready. You finally understand. And he stepped in right in that moment. And he, like, when I tell you I have a map in my, and he doesn't give this, I'm understanding my gift because he doesn't give it to everybody. But when I tell you I'm giving a map and it gets clearer by clearer as you take the steps. And it's like, okay, I took this step. and then it's circled. And this is like, that was the right step. Okay, now I can take another step that looks just like this one, but it has to be progress. And I am proud of the progress I made. Not the person, because I still got work to do, but the progress that I made last year that put me in this position this year. I would have never done this podcast. I would have shied away from it. I would have hauled tail. I'm trying, y'all. It's a process.
Good. I'm proud of you.
I would have hauled. Y'all know. Fill it in. I wanted to say it. I would have hauled tail last year. It took, but you know what? The closer and closer I get to what God wants me to be, the closer I get to providing that to everybody around me.
Right.
And it's not for me. I would have never done this for me. And that's a sad God honest truth. If it only affected me, I would have never done it. I'm doing this because that pour that we talked about gets to pour on to everybody else, and it gets to circle through, and I get to see other people's healed process because I'm not allowing the enemy have the playground and using me any longer. It's like, okay, without cuss words, because I curse the enemy out. We talk about foot on necks, giving him the business, or I give him all the business. But when I tell you, this is not your playground anymore. The next generation, my kids, it's not your playground anymore. I am, God created me loud. He created me loud for a reason. But it's like, okay, if you created me loud, what do you want me to say?
Well, how do you want me to use that?
So it's just like, okay, this is what you wanted me to be loud for? Yeah. Okay. And now when we started this podcast, I'll say, okay, God, I'm giving you this year. And when I write in the when we both write in the comments and it's like, thank you for confirming what God wanted to do. That's what we're talking about, because we don't do this for ourselves. We don't do this for, let's get cute on camera, because this is all of it. It's uncomfortable because this is not where we wanted to be. This is where we've been asked to go. And it's just like, where is God asking you to go? Where has he told you, all right, it's time to take the covers off. It's time to fight what you've been originally created for.
Fight for it.
Start somewhere. That quirkiness, that uncomfortableness that you have, like, well, I'm not like this person. I'm not like this person. You're not supposed to be like that person. He didn't copy and paste anybody.
That's right.
It's amazing to me that none of us, may have commonalities, but none of us are the same. And it's amazing to me, as many women as I meet, that there's an individual beauty that we might be able to see in you, but you can't see it. And I aim, if I don't do nothing else, to pull that out of every person that crosses my path, every person that writes a comment, every person that writes a DM. I'd be up sometimes until 2:00 in the morning because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to answer all of these. Because I remember, I remember having postpartum depression for the third time. I thought I was done. And it kicked my behind. And when I didn't want to be here, like, nothing was saving me from wanting to be here. Not my sister, not my kids. I didn't want to be here. And I remember reaching out to someone who had just posted that she had postpartum depression. And this is a top-notch blue check certified celebrity. And when I reached out to her and I was like, I know you might not see this, but thank you for your message. And she wrote me back. Not only did she write me back, she prayed over me. When that happened, I was just like, okay, all right, like what you want? What you want? That was my rock. Like, if I'm being honest, I know I've talked about it on my mom page, but if I'm being absolutely raw, open, and honest, like you think that you're rock bottom or like nobody can't possibly understand what I'm facing right now. And I know we talked about anxiety and we talked about depression, and I know this was not meant to be on here, but
yes,
you are worth every breath that you take. You are worth still being here. If you are, every day that you wake up, you're called to be here. So take that and figure out why. Because there's some people that's not here and you just like, well, dag, I have seen so many people younger than me not be here no more. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, they're not here no more.
You know they didn't fulfill their
purpose. And I'm just like, I want to leave this earth poured out, nothing left, where when I finally do reach my final destination, it's just like I can look back and be like, I ain't got nothing. If I wanted to squeeze out a rag, it is completely dry. Else. Like, there's nothing else. I done poured out completely everything.
And you can stand before God and he can say, well done, good and faithful servant. That's what it's all about. Everything you said is just like,
I got chills. Ooh. We get these tingles where it's just like,
it's a God moment.
Where it's just like, I could run around the house right now. Like, I could run around the house because it's just like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to share that. But it's like, if you want to use it, I'm going to let you use
it all. One of the things that you said that really stood out to me was, and I remember you saying that when you went into that year, you told God, okay, I'm giving you a year, and you were determined at the end of this year, I'm not going to be the same way I was when I went in. But one of the biggest things you said that stood out to me was surrender. Coming to it, and we're going to wrap up with this, but and just saying to our sister circle, how important it is to come to that place of surrender. Like, none of this matters about like you removing the covers of who God said you are if you don't come to that place of surrender. I was listening to a reel earlier today, and it was a really famous football player, Deion Sanders. We can say who it was. And I think he played football and baseball. I'm not really all that big into sports. But he talked about, like, you can have everything. You can have 300 pair of shoes. You can have all of these suits. You can have 5 women in your bed. And you can have all of these things, but still be in a place of just brokenness. And like, you're using all of these things to try to cover up what's really going on in the inside of you. And until you get to the point of surrender, and he gave the analogy of a Western, a movie, where like there's a big shootout and the person comes out with their hands up and they're like, oh, I surrender, I surrender. It wasn't until he got to that point of surrender that everything changed for him, and he really had a God moment, and allowing God to pull back all of those layers and allow him to walk in the purpose that he's walking in now. And he's amazing. He's doing amazing things. A lot of people say a lot of stuff about him, but saying that made me look at him in a different light. Yeah. So I encourage you all, come to that place of surrender with God and everything that he wants to do in your life. And we're going to continue on this journey. You have a sister now. We are a sister circle. We are in this together. Yes. In this together. And we are going to wrap up there. So have a good rest of your evening. And we will see you soon.
See you.